Hey friends, what's up? It's Abby, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 different ways that you can reduce your food waste. Similar to fashion, and when you walk into a store and you see all this clothing, especially around holiday time, and you know that not all of it's going to be bought and a lot of it will end up in the landfill, I also think similarly when I walk into a grocery store, because there's just so much food and you know that not all of it is going to be bought or eaten, and then where does it go? It ends up going into a landfill, in a trash bag, and then it can't properly decompose. I know that there are a lot of statistics on this topic, but I don't know all of the particulars of them, and I also don't think they're super important. I think the more important thing is to just know that a lot of food gets wasted, and this is something that we can all individually very easily, just by changing a few of the things that we do, help to reduce the amount of waste. Alright, number 1 is something that I personally have been doing for the past couple of years, and it's not only helped to reduce my food waste, but has really saved me a lot of time and money, and this is just meal prepping. I cannot tell you how great this has been for my busy college lifestyle, just with school and work, and I know that a lot of you guys are in the same situations, is that you end up just buying food, which is more expensive, or you're making food and you're like, I don't really like this, but I need to eat food, so I'm just gonna grab the quickest thing that's not necessarily the healthiest and get out the door. So I feel that just sitting down on Sundays and making a list of the meals that I want. Pinterest is a big helper for, like, if I just can't figure out what I want to eat, and then listing all the ingredients, and then when you go to the grocery store, you don't have to dilly-dally, you can go in and out. That's something that I really appreciate about Maddie, is that both of us have a very similar grocery style. We just like go in, go out, and we're like, we are good. Yeah, it's just nice because it takes a lot of mental capacity out as well, in the fact of, like, you know, there's that saying that we have to make X amount of decisions in a day, and each decision like lowers, not our brain power, I'm not really sure, but it's something like that. Like, it's just the more decisions we have to make, the more difficult it is to put more effort into bigger things. So even with little things like grocery shopping, it is really nice to just not have to worry about it. Of course, there are times when I make something and there's just a bunch of it because I am like one solo person and I don't have a family to eat the rest of the food, which is kind of nice because then I can just take those leftovers and get really creative. Most of the time I'll just add a grain like quinoa or rice to my vegetables or whatever I had made earlier that week, or I'll get to the next one in a second. Number 2 is kind of wrapping back to what I just said about leftovers, and yeah, maybe you're getting sick of them, or maybe you just like don't know what to do with them. In that case, throw them in the freezer. Freezer power is amazing. If you don't have a freezer, I would really suggest getting one and utilizing it, because you can seriously freeze like anything. If you buy an extra loaf of bread because it's on sale, and you buy the whole grain bread and it's a little bit more expensive, so you want to take advantage of that sale, then you just pop that in the freezer, and then you can take the slices out individually and just stick them in the toaster and they will de-thaw like that. You can also throw in soups and veggies and fruits, and the list goes on and on and on with things that you can freeze. One thing important, I think, is to make sure that you label them. When I use a stasher bag, you can write on them with dry erase markers, or just take a piece of tape and write the date, just so that you know when you put it in there. And then I try to use stuff within a month or 2, just because I don't want it to over accumulate. Okay, and number 3, which hopefully we don't get to this point, but we know that we all do, and that is food spoilage. Anywho, to try to save from spoilage, know which of your foods go in the fridge and which ones stay out of the fridge, on the counter, or in the pantry. I know foods like tomatoes and potatoes and onions and garlic and apples, question mark, should typically stay out of the fridge. And yeah, also with that, don't necessarily go by best by, sell by, and expiration dates. There is a difference between those 3 labels, but to know that you don't necessarily have to go by that date. When you see it, don't just throw it out. Actually check the food and see if you can use it. And a lot of foods that are spoiled, like spinach or like any green leafy thing that is starting to go, you can throw into a saute or in a smoothie and still use, or dry bread you can use to make croutons, and veggie scraps you can use to make chicken stock, and the list goes on and on. Alright my friends, that is the end of this video. No, I did not mention compost. composting. Composting is also a huge thing that you can do to reduce your food waste. It's just not something that I personally have a lot of experience with yet. I would like to. You can stick anything in there from veggie and food scraps, newspaper and eggshells, and that way you can use it even if you have plants and to fertilize your plants, and it's not just going into the landfill. I will link a link down below in the description to all of the sources that I've kind of hit on, and also more about composting, because it is something that I would personally like to get more involved with. If you guys like this video, please make sure to thumbs up and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated with my videos. If you want, follow me and my life in New York along on Instagram. And what else? Comment down below. Let me know how you're doing, how your week is going, how your new semester is going. If you haven't watched my videos, welcome. And I like to make videos about sustainability and fashion and whatever creative things come into my mind, hopefully. So thanks for watching again. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!